And we are live. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to Forever Sports. And are we ready? Because it is time, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to get down to business. The URC playoffs are here, and we already have one person into the semifinals as Glasgow booked their place last night. And now we have got back-to-back South African teams in the quarterfinals, which means at the very least, I'm hoping for 2 out of 3 teams into those semi-finals, and let's hope that we can get another South African side into the final, and I'll be interested to see how they peak. We've got 3 very interesting journeys getting to the playoffs. You've got the Stormers who started like a house on fire, kind of faded away, and then started coming back towards the end of the season, starting to find a bit more sort of form in the last few weeks. But I don't think look as convincing as they'd probably like to be going into the playoffs. They've got the Bulls, who started really poorly under Johan Ackerman, kind of was always going to be the case a little bit to a certain degree. And but then they've really started to come right in the last few weeks and months. And then you've got the Lions, who have kind of fluctuated. And the big thing with the Lions, they've been so good at home, but injuries have ravaged them. So, yeah, they're not going to be as strong as they'd like to be later. But you know what? Who knows? We've seen a Bulls side go over and beat Leinster in Ireland. So who's to write off the Lions later? But anyway, let's get stuck into this game, shall we? We have got the Bulls versus Munster over at Loftus. I'm expecting it to be a pretty big crowd over there. It's phenomenal weather. Absolutely phenomenal weather over at Loftus, and long may that continue. People, I want to get your sort of score predictions into the comments nice and early. Let me know who you think is going to win. Go and vote on the poll as well, and let me know what you think is going to happen in the game to come, because it's been a while since we've done a watch-along. Obviously, wait for the URC to really pick up, and from now, I mean, it's 1st January on Monday. We've actually got some very exciting news for that. But now moving forward, we're going to be really ramping up in the rugby season, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got so many big plans for the year to come, and hopefully you guys are all going to be a part of it. So in the meantime, as I get your score predictions in, there is always a good Munster travelling support, and it looks like there is much the same. It does look like a decent amount of fans in the crowd there for them, and hopefully we'll be treated to a good game at the end of the day, because that's what we want. We just want a good game. We want a watchable game, and we want to be able to make sure that we are entertained, to be brutally honest. Let's go have a look at the teams. And there has been, in fact, a late withdrawal, and there will be no Wilco Louw, which is a huge blow for the Bulls, because, I mean, he's one of your stars, really. He's one of the players that they have built a lot of the side around. So if you look at the Bulls side, it's Gerard Steenekamp, Johan Grobbelaar. It is not Wilco Louw. There has been a late replacement. So Francois Klopper, you can see in there the number 18 jersey. He has come into the starting lineup. Mornay Smith has come into the matchday 23. But Johan Grobbelaar and Gerard Steenekamp will remain in the second row. Ruan Vermaak and Ruan Nokia. Ruan Nokia playing his 150th and possibly his final Bulls game today if they were to go out. He has been confirmed that he will be moving on from the side after the season, and we're going overseas. So big opportunity for him to really write his name into a bit of folklore for the Bulls. That's a very strong back row, isn't it? Master could see Albert Lowe, the Sheriff, is back. Cameron Harnicom in the number 8 jersey. Ambrose Pierre, who has gotten himself into that Springbok alignment camp setup. He'll be looking to have a strong game next to Andre Pollard. You've got Shavina Jacobs, Curtly Arns as your 2 speedsters. In the centres, a big opportunity for Kane Moody to once again show what he can do at outside centre. He's got Harold Forster inside, and Villy LaRue and the number 15 jersey. Off the bench, lots of box star power there in the likes of Marco van Staden, Jan Andrew Vessels in the 16-17. Then Mornay Smith is, in fact, the tight head replacement. You've then got Clovis Vista, Jean-Louis Rudolph, Paul de Vet, Stefan Kranz, and Sergil Peterson. So plenty of experience at the highest level between those sort of players. And then if we look at the Munster side, this is how they will be lining up. And in the front row, it's Jeremy Lochman, Niall Scannell, and Michael Alalatoa, who has been a bit of a journeyman since all those years at Leinster, but he's a strong player. In the second row, you've got Tom O'Hearn, Evan O'Connell, and it's another strong back row. I think the back row battle today will be one of the better ones to keep an eye on. It is Jack O'Donoghue, John Hodnett, and Brian Gleeson. Craig Casey, the captain, will partner JJ Hanrahan in the number 10 jersey. Shane Daly, who a lot of South Africans are particularly happy with after what happened with Ethan Hooker, is in that number 11 jersey. Andrew Smith, the number 14. Your centers are Sean O'Brien and Alex Nankivell, and Mike Haley in the number 15 jersey. Then off the bench for the men from Ireland, it is Darren Barron, Josh Wishley, and Connor Bartley in the front row. You then got Phelan Wishley, Gavin Coombs, you're looking to be a big impact off the bench, Ben O'Donovan, Dan Kelly, and Alex Kendall. Two strong sides, and I think on paper, this Bulls side is probably the one that I'm really backing to be able to get the job done. But who knows? It's playoff rugby at the end of the day, and that's kind of what I'm keep telling myself when it comes to the Lions later. It is playoff rugby, and absolutely anything can happen when it comes to playoff rugby. So let's really hope that the Lions, the Stormers, and the Bulls all kind of pull through. Let's face it, we're doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, where you're asking there in the chat, and we've got a pretty big announcement on Monday with a brand new change in memberships and really upping our Forever Sports offering for the year, including some very cool exclusive content and a potential other platform, which I think all our Springbok fans in particular will really enjoy. But also down the line, we potentially rolling out a similar sort of platform for non-Springbok fans. But yeah, so been a lot of stuff behind the scenes, a lot of work going there, and I'm cannot wait to sort of share the ideas and what's kind of been cooking in our in the background. Basically, we're all ramping up, ready for box season, because that is, I think we've got one of the best box seasons of all time coming up. 4 tests against the All Blacks, playing against all 6 of the Six Nations sides. Once off against Argentina, once off against Australia. We are going to play every single one of the top 10 teams in the world this year at least once. And that's exciting. It's very, very exciting. Not to mention the Barbarians game, not to mention an SAA versus Zimbabwe game. So there's lots of rugby to look forward to. And as a result, we've been doing a lot of planning on where we kind of want to be, what we kind of want to offer, what we want to make sure you guys can enjoy from our side. And that will start to be phased in on Monday. So if you're not part of the members club, I really, really do suggest that you consider joining. We are going to be upping our membership offer and other ways that you can kind of get involved within the channel and within some of the communities that we're sort of trying to drive. Now, if we look at the two sides over here and kind of where this match might go, obviously it's going to be one up front. I think at the end of the day, we're looking at gorgeous conditions there at Loftus. It is warm today. I'm wearing a jersey only because my office never sees any sun in winter. But outside, it is about 19, 20 odd degrees. So it is very warm. The altitude will no doubt play a big role in this game. And that's going to really, really suit the Bulls. And that's why I'm a very big fan of the fact that this game is a 1 o'clock kickoff. And then the Stormers have got a hop of 3 because they're going to make the overseas sides come and play in South Africa at tricky conditions. Make the altitude a factor at the end of the day. You've got to use your home ground advantage. That's the whole point. I mean, we just knew if the roles were reversed and Lions were hosting Leinster, it would also be played about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the absolute heat of the day to really up your home advantage. You've got to make sure that you've got a nice crowd in there. You got to create a bit of a hostile environment. You got to make sure that you can leverage any little possible advantage that you have by playing at home. Because if you don't, there's no point in having that home ground advantage. So some people always think that home ground advantage is arbitrary, but it is so not arbitrary, especially in a cross-continental competition, because you've literally got 2 different seasons. And ironically, now our seasons are pretty aligned, because whilst it's getting warm in the UK, it's still pretty warm down here, especially when you play at this. But that's why, if you played at 7 o'clock this evening, it would have been very, very cool in Loftus. You're talking about 10, 11 degrees. Whereas now we're going to be able to hit them out there at 20 degrees and at altitude, try and make them suck in that breath and make it feel like it's you're up. And obviously there's the famous sign which has the altitude and it says it matters. So it's going to be a fun few hours, I think, of rugby. And the Munster side coming out in there in red and not obviously running through the Bulls tunnel, which is lined up on the halfway line. Cobus Visa there. I think he's got a big role to play. Jean-Ray Rudolph, what a season he's had. A bit of a journeyman, Jean-Ray Rudolph. Been around the block. Never been able to really nail down a spot, I think, at a union, at a top union. But now this season, I think he's really endeared himself to the Bulls fans, and I think he's settled in the Bulls, and I think he's showing that he's been able to play at this level for quite a while. So yeah, it's going to be a fun game. And here comes Rio Nokia. It seems to be fixing something around his eyes. I don't think there's quite tears yet, but he's coming out with his wife. I think it's his wife. I'm not sure they're officially married or girlfriend. Because this could potentially be his final game. And more the point, it's his 150th game. That's why he's coming out here. And what a servant he's been for the Bulls. Played all his rugby at the Bulls. Has been around, been very loyal. Now he's cracked the box squad. Now he's a regular. Now is the time that he's decided to go and find something a bit different, to go overseas and maybe test himself there, up the coffers a little bit as well. And I think it's a good move for him. So in the comments, Rockman saying, go Bulls, how long till the game starts? We have got literally seconds on seconds. There's 1 o'clock on the dot. And Little Miss Big Boost saying, that's what we want to know. Where's the man been indeed? Well, hopefully you're going to enjoy what the man has been cooking up in the background. It's been a bit of a busy year for me, to be honest, personally. So yeah, I have been a bit everywhere, but we've got some very cool things that we want to show. And if you're a Bok fan, as I said, please consider becoming a member, because you are going to be the first person to be able to experience exactly what we have been building. And we're hoping to start giving you guys some glimpses as soon as next week. But there's going to be a whole brand new community that we're going to start building in the next few weeks. And if you don't want to be part of that, then I really do suggest becoming a member, like Carmel did, as you can see on the stream there. But we've got 2 teams out here. We have got rugby very, very shortly. We don't have any score predictions, people. What are we thinking? I'm going to go Bulls by 15. I'm going to go big here. I think that the Bulls at home, I think they're going to be too strong for a Munster side who beat the Lions, but not overly convincingly. And that was at home. I think this Bulls side at home in these conditions are going to be a difficult side to beat. And I think, there's lots of emotions in the game. You've got Andre Pollard. He's playing in a playoff game for the first time in how many years? In the Bulls jersey, not in a Springbok jersey. He is Mr. Iceman as well. This is why they bought Andre Pollard. It's moments like this, games like this. This is why you buy players like that, because they bring the experience for situations like this. So yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting game. And we do have kickoff as we go to the right hand side. And the first touch for Albert Lowe back in the mix, and really trying to get himself into those Rusty Erasmus plans for the year. I'm trying to which was Albert Lowe was it was Albert Lowe, in fact. And Ambrose Peel Shale for his first kick of the day. Lifts it nice and high. A couple of chases there. It will be a contestable. And Sovino Jacobs comes up and comes away with it as well. It's a very nice start there from the Bulls. Nice carry there early on there. Francois Klopper getting involved. Really a little bit of space out wide. Harold Forster. Pick up and go. Moscow pops up to Kirkley Orenser. Somebody else they'll be hoping has a very strong game. Now, caught behind the vantage line there, so not the strongest of carries. Not too much on, so Vili will go to the boot. Left boot, Strina Jacobs is on again. It comes backwards off him into the hands of Johannes Krabbelaar, a bit of space. Because all going to Krabbelaar, looking for the offload, puts it straight into the hands of his opposite number. Now Scannell, Craig Casey, under a bit of pressure, gets the offload away. He's done very well. That's Craig Casey. Slightly isolated, but no Bulls players around to make that advantage. But a hot start so far. Forward passes the call, so we're going to have an early scrum, and that'll be a nice result for the Bulls to get themselves an early scrum, especially if they had Wilco Lowe. But regardless of that, they should have a pretty strong scrum. And I think that they should be able to find a reasonable amount of ascendancy nice and earlier. Daniel Shea saying, Israel, go Munster. So we do have some Munster fans in the chat here. Michael Alatoa just trying to throw it offload nice and quickly. But, get yourself your votes into the poll there, and let me know who you think is going to win. And give me your score predictions, people. It's still early enough where we can hoist some score predictions out here. Yeah, it's a good scrum, but both players under a bit of pressure because that ball bottled out because there was such a dominant scrum. User comes to the call from the referee. away to the referee, but good so far from the Bulls. A bit of space out wide. Trevino Jokers managed to hang on, and he's going to go into the corner. But there was a forward pass. Canan Moody, a wry smile on his face there. Would have been a perfect start. It's exactly the kind of start you want when it comes to player of rugby. You've got to try and get yourself a hot start. So I'm just trying to sort out one of the things in the background here. And then I can give you my full undivided attention. Big game ahead for Canan Moody. Very, very big game. And for example, that's pretty unforgivable, to be honest. I mean, it's Trevino Jokers would have gone away. He's basically botched a guaranteed try. Found the space, had the man out wide. All he had to do was throw a good pass and couldn't do it. So frustrating that from Canan Moody. But they'll go back for a scrum, and it'll be interesting to sort of see how the Munster team rally from that scrum. Because that first one was not great, to be brutally honest, and that'll be a big worry for them if it's going to have Bulls going to be one-way traffic in these sort of conditions, because it's very, very tiring if you're going scrum by scrum by scrum and you're getting absolutely hammered. So the Bulls will take a lot of confidence out of that first scrum. Munster, there'll be a certain amount of worry in and amongst them. No space. This is the referee, so we'll have a reset. Come on, let's get a better scrum here. Let's get a nice platform. Let's get this this game going. It's been a hot start. And there's the Bulls scrum coming through. There's a penalty advantage, and they've got the ball as well. Cameron Honeycomb comes away with under a bit of pressure, but the Bulls do have penalty advantage now. Pick up and go once again, coming from Albert Low this time. Very good work here from Jan Ackerman's men. Goes short. Tomas Garcia spins in the tackle. Makes a yard or two. And Bruce Pierre looking for a quick ball. Cameron Honeycomb's coming around the corner. If that's Albert Low once again. I think it's actually one of Cameron Honeycomb. Gets to the way. Disappear. Throws away one. He goes. The perfect start that from the Bulls. And it's the man in the best form of his life. Back on the Springbok radar. And he's back on the score sheet. Ambrose Papier, I tell you, I mean, he's had an absolute belter of a season. And it was almost written. He was always going to be the first person to score, wasn't he, in the kind of form he's in. He's been, not saying he's been hammering the door down. He's been blowing the door down, blowing up the door, in fact, when it comes to trying to get that call up to Rassie Erasmus, Lyman Camp or squad or the likes of that, because he's just been playing too well to leave out. And that is exactly the kind of start that Johan Ackerman would have wanted from his team. A nice early start. I mean, and that was actually on Munster ball. They've pushed them, Munster, back over their own ball, gotten the ball on penalty advantage, scored a try, thrown down the gauntlet. And that's what you want to do nice and early on, is get that early try, because they would have spoken the entire time this week about starting well and about making sure that, you know, that they put the Bulls under pressure and that they don't let the Bulls get the crowd behind them. And the Bulls would have been saying the exact opposite, saying, let's get that early try. Let's get the crowd up. Let's put Munster under pressure. Let's make them feel the heat, make them feel the altitude. And an early try does exactly that. Albert Lowe gets through one tackle. Second time he's been under the high ball over there. So just under 6 minutes played so far, 7-0. No issues with 100 product from the conversion, being right in front, especially for the Iceman. Allow opportunity for Bruce Pierre to find a good clearance. He's gone up and will be contestable. Trevino Jokers, but very good under the high ball. Comes backwards off him once again into the hands of Craig Casey off of Ambrose Papier. Craig Casey is having a few words there. Never going to be the biggest man on the field, Craig Casey, but a bit of guts over there. And let's say what's key today for the Bulls, Steve P. I think it's the scrum. I said it before, even without Wilco Low, I think the scrum is going to be their go-to and their big weapon. And we've literally just seen them push Munster back over the ball and score a try off it. So we've seen it now. The Boks have made an entire number world ranking and based on the world, based on the back of a strong scrum. This is a nice movement, though. We've also Pierre popping up now. Shuna Jacobs, big overlap here. Willie LaRue goes to Curly Answer. Curly Answer comes inside. Slow tackle there on him. Ball available. Quick ball. Pick up and go. Coming from Harold Forster. Mr. Reliable Harold Forster. Pollard now. Ronokir in the midfield. Sucks in the defender or two. Quick ball head from Mbrosa Pierre. Does get it. Pollard. Out wide of Kenny Moody. Kenny Moody looks to put on a little bit of a goosey. Comes back inside as Ulrich Lowe. Very well played that from the number 7. But this is good from the Bulls. Deep into Munster territory they go. Gerstenkamp absorbs a defender or two in his carry. Mbrosa Pierre thought about going the short side. Does go down the short side. But well read from Munster this time. And tell you what, Trevino Yarkers almost have gone out there. Ulrich Lowe's gone to help him out. They've done well to keep that ball in of the Bulls. This time to the right-hand side. Ruin for Mark. Makes a nice break. Mbrosa Pierre now. Not too much on for Andre Pollard. So he just sees a bit of space in behind, trying to turn the Munster defense. But Shane Daly reads it well, and the bounce of the ball is favourable. He puts the kick downfield, looking for touch. I don't think he's going to find it. Willie LaRue's over there. Takes it well. Willie LaRue points towards where he wants it to go. Willie LaRue's going to go himself. Inside ball to Curly Answer. Curly Answer's got the pace as well. And a bit of Willie LaRue magic as well to make it try number 2 for the Bulls. That's so well played. And that's the experience. I mean, Willie LaRue, we talk about an all-or-nothing player. And he is that. When he's good, he's damn good. And when he's awkward, he can be very awkward at times. But this is Willie LaRue masterclass. The vision over there, he's got 3 players in and around him. He keeps it himself, which is the last thing they would have expected. Then throws the offload to Kurt Lyon. So he's got nobody ahead of him. And the Bulls go bang, bang. I mean, the second he caught that ball, he's looking for it and he's pointing. He's saying, I want you there. I'm going there. And all of the Munster players are so worried about getting into position to stop the other potential ball carriers that they didn't really pay much attention to Willie LaRue himself. The question is now, can Pollard make a 2 from 2? Oh, time off. Oh no, we're going to go have a look at this. We're going to have a look, I think. I've got a Munster player down. And getting some treatment. I'm not sure if there's potential foul play off the ball. How frustrating would that be from a Bulls perspective to have scored a second try and now it's going to be chalked off due to an off-the-ball incident? And Piardi wants to have a look. It is not a full house, unfortunately. It looks like pretty full on this side, on the east side. Oh, no, this doesn't look good at all. We've got oxygen coming out here. I'm assuming that's potentially for a break. He looks like he is conscious. So as soon as they start bringing out oxygen and a player, well, he's on the side. I'm sure he was moving around. It's usually then a pain thing if they, yeah, you see he's actually leaning on his elbow. So they're getting oxygen out. That's probably a pain. Then don't quote me on that. I didn't study for being a doctor for many years, but that is usually the kind of procedure. He is conscious. And he's up. Yeah, I'm struggling to find, and I think it is a potentially head injury. I'm very confused to what's going on here. The player is up. He's sitting up. Is it here? I think. There's nothing really there. I don't think this is going to get chalked off or anything. Tom O'Hearn is up. I mean, it's bizarre. I mean, it looked, I mean, they had the ambulance out there. They had the... Okay, well, the trial's going to stand. They weren't looking at anything. I think he was more worried about... I don't think they were a bit more concerned about the injury than what it ended up being, because he's actually busy walking off. So I don't know if this is going to be an HIA. I mean, they had the stretcher up. They had the golf cart up. They had people putting on oxygen. And he's now busy walking off as Tom O'Hearn. So not entirely sure what... And even when we watch the... Well, he doesn't seem to be taking the tape off. But that could be an indication that his game is yet done. But we don't quite know what's gone on here. He's holding his head. I'm confused. Very confused. Even when you watch the replay, there was no obvious, oh, that's what's happened or that's what's gone wrong. So it's a bit odd. But the good news is for him is that he's up and walking and looks to be fine. And no issues there from Andre Party. He doesn't miss, does he? He doesn't miss. Put him in a play-off position, and he's not going to miss any points out there. It's just what he does. But Villiers Leroux take a bow because that's brilliant try worked by him. And Kurt Lawrence, as soon as you give him half a gap, literally, I mean, you can give him 2 centimeters of a gap, and man will take it and run with it. Right, so back to kick off. Once again, it's Elric Low underneath it, and Ambrose Pierre taking a while to get that ball out the back. And taking too long, I think, as the referee said, or else there's a knock-on in there. Yeah, it's taken too long. That's a silly mistake to make from Ambrose Pierre. You can't be making that kind of mistake. But I don't think the Bulls will be too upset with the scrum because they've so far scrummed very, very well. So there obviously has been a replacement given the fact that Tom O'Hearn has gone off, which means that Finian Wycherley in the number 19 jersey is on the park. Will be packing down for his first scrum of the afternoon. And let's see if this time the Bulls can push them back off their ball once again. And there's the shove. They get out very quickly, though. They do well, they do Munster. Good tackle coming from Ambrose Pierre. He's everywhere so far on Brian Gleeson. Now the options. I'll tell you what, almost got the line right there, did Alex Nankivell. Oh, that's a nice big hit becoming the held force. Now Cameron Harnicorn just manhandling the man. He's got his hands all over. They're looking to try and hold him up. I think they have held him up. Cameron Harnicorn, that is absolutely brilliant. If that has been called a maul, it has been called a maul. That is brilliant from Cameron Harnicorn. And that's, I think this is a game or two. Could very much him be announcing his return really back to exactly what he is and that is try and contest for that number 8 jersey. May say this will be a record score for the Bulls against the team that are on free fall. Very sad to watch what is happening to Munster. It is a club with zero leadership on and off the pitch. It's never fun to see any sort of club in disarray. And I think Munster, that's what even Rusty Rasmus said. He said there's so much history in Munster. Obviously, we didn't really understand until we started watching URC. But I do think that if you're kind of iconic clubs involved in the URC, I think Munster's got one of them. Their fans are really good. The big traveling fan. It's a really cool badge. So it's never great to see something that has got so much heritage and culture like a Munster to not be at their best. But there's another penalty advantage, and the penalty. Oh no, we're gonna have a reset. In fact, looked like he was shaping for the penalty advantage was Andrew Piatti. And now a bit of afters coming between the players. It looks like Alred Lowe's getting involved. Finian Wycherley's been on the park for all of 30 seconds. And he wants to say, how's it? To Miles Scotsia, whose biceps are probably the size of my head. Not sure I'd be getting too involved over there. But yes, to answer your question, Catherine Lowe, he is indeed off as Tom Ahern, and Finian Wycherley on the park over there. I'm sure Piatti will have a conversation with the captains, of which Miles Scotsia was in fact actually involved. And to just say, let's cool things off a little bit here, lads. Terry Rollins says, looking forward to your streams during box season. So am I. Looking forward to what we've got to give you guys during box season. And I might not be with you for the first game. I'll be with you for all the tests, especially the Greatest Rivalry Tour. It's going to be absolutely epic, even though I had to cancel my 30th birthday because it's the day of the first test. But Catherine saying, Munster has leadership on and off the pitch. It's a club transitioning after a loss of significant players last year. So disagreeing with the Munster situation over there. Yeah, look, I suppose it depends on, what McMillan's going to do in the off season, really, when it comes to Munster. It is definitely in transition. Probably a bit early to be able to say whether it's positive transition or negative or kind of where they're at. It is another scrum penalty, though, in the meantime, for the Bulls, as Andre Pollard will look to find touch. And it's a very good touch finder, indeed. So you can see there on the screen, you've got the two try scorers in Kurt Lawrence and in Bruce Papier. 100 Power with 2 conversions over there. If we look at the Munster, that's all gone a bit everywhere. But if we look at the Munster side over there, you can see that Tom O'Hearn has departed the pitch, and in his place, Feenan Wycherley is on in the number 19 jersey, and that's line up for the Bulls. And Bruce Papier pops it up, and Andre Pollard goes himself, trying to get his hands through the tackle, doesn't quite manage to do it. And back on the angle, I'm surprised. Yeah, it's gonna be that's so silly for Gerard Steenekamp. Comes back on the angle and runs into the back of Master Gutsia, which could have been very easily avoided. But yeah, it's still going relatively well. The set piece is still looking pretty positive. Tony Robbins says, "Are you rocking the Lions jersey later?" I'm indeed. We're not doing a watch along forward actually, unfortunately. But yeah, got my Lions jersey primed for later, and yeah, multiple reasons why unfortunately we can't do the watch along, but I will be watching the game, and I might even just bring it up for the second for the Stormers game. Start putting my colours to the mast, so to speak. Good line of this from Munster. They need to score next if they're going to keep this game alive. Do Munster over here, and that's a nice. They looked actually pretty all right off the back of set piece. A good tackle coming from Harold Forster, and they've done well to just hold things up a little bit as people come around the corner there for Craig Casey. Looks like Jeremy Lockman getting involved now. Now flat to Mike Haley. But I don't think we had a single line break so far from Munster. Not much gain line advantage either. There's going to be a couple of yards there from Feenan Wycherley. Inside ball. Craig Casey fires it out. Options. Pops up short. Penalty advantage there for Munster. So, that's very well done from Craig Casey. Got his hand away from somebody trying to smack the ball down and getting the offload as well. Very skillful player, Craig Casey. Down to the right-hand side, they go. Space out wide. Comes back inside. Freshly brought down Znakable, but he's got the offload away as well. And John Hodnett's 5 meters up. John Hodnett's still going. In fact, he wasn't held, and I think he's over. No, ball's just short. Ooh, the referee wants to have a look here. We have a forward pass, what they say, so we're going to go back for the penalty advantage. Offside is the call. So we're going to go back for the penalty, as mentioned. Premier says the core of Munster has been rotting over the last decade. Now we're seeing it play out more in the public eye. I'm just glad that for once my union seems to be in a relatively stable position. I mean, as a Lions fan, we're going to have a look at this forward pass. I'm not entirely sure. Theirs, I think, is what they're saying. They were back behind the offside line. Craig Casey looking at options. Yeah, I think they're looking for taking the 3 here, are they? Wouldn't be the worst idea. I think Craig Casey looking into, I think he's trying to get a bit of a word from the coaching staff, because you've got JJ Hanrahan who's standing around. So I don't know if we're going to be kicking to touch. No, Jack Crowley is a huge loss for Munster. Yeah, they're going to go to the corner. They have to, I think. The big opportunity here for Munster as we about starting towards the halfway stage. Just 60 minutes in. It's felt like a long half already because there's been so much happening, but we are only 60 minutes in. So there's still plenty of time. No need to panic if you're a Munster fan or anything like that. Squaring out space there, Craig Casey to the right-hand side. Feenan Wycherley's been pretty involved since coming off the bench. Going to have a big role to play there. He's going to play the entire game now. I think Gavin Coombs will be the big one to come on later for Munster, bringing on a lot of physicality. He's a big man, as Gavin Coombs. Now pick up and go from Jeremy Lockman. No handsballs available. Michael Alatoa not really getting much go forward ball here on Munster. Good defense so far from the Bulls, and Jan Grobbelaar does very well to read that. And Ruan Okia thought about throwing his hands in there for a turnover. Pick up and go once again, this time on Michael Alato. But once again, met by the blue wall, which is holding firm once again. 9 phases so far for Munster. Not really getting much joy here. That's a bit better. But John Hodnett then is Jacket Johnny, in fact, actually driven backwards. Lochman once again is going to have a go. 13 phases so far. The Bulls wall still holding pretty firm. Now the ball's come loose, I think. It might have been turned over. No penalty, says the referee, for offside. Probably go back to the corner or potentially tap and go. They just didn't really seem to be getting much go forward ball. You have time off here whilst some of the players get a bit of treatment. Yeah, I think it was diving the ball there. Cameron Honeycomb getting a bit of feedback from the coach staff. We're not here. 150 games today for the Bulls. I don't know how you really replace them, to be honest. Even, I mean, you could bring most people in, you can't really replace them. It's a very calm-looking Bulls coaching staff. It's a bit different to Jake White and his 45,652 water bottles that he used to have when you watched the game. He basically was sat on the top, bit of King of the Castle kind of vibes. And we're still talking about the Munster situation in the comments. And Matty saying, I really feel the top brass at Munster have put more energy into growing the Munster brand at the expense of developing the team into a world-class side. It's nearly 20 years since they won Hana Cup. Interesting concept. Well, so who was it the other day? And they basically said we're a marketing agency that plays rugby. And everyone went, ugh, that's not what, it's not really what we're here. But it is. It's the brandification, the commercialization of our sports. And it has to happen. Let's call a spade a spade. We have to. You know, you need to make the money. It's got to be a big part of it, but we don't want to lose the main thing. We always talk about let the main thing be the main thing, and there is always that issue and the consistent grapple between growing our rugby and make sure that's always commercially viable. I'll go with the tap and go. I mentioned that might have been the play, and it is the play. As Niles Scannell. And now a bit of a go. Brian Gleeson comes up just short, but better this year from Munster. A bit more intent, and they're on the doorstep. Pick up and go. I think it's just short. Fat had a second reach, though. Piari's trying to get a look in. He's got his head firmly inside there, and he says, hold up. No, in fact, he says, stop is the call. So we might have a try here. We're going to have a look. He has not gone hold up. He has gone... stop play. So let's see what's happening. Munster might have found their way back. They're pretty confident. He gets up with the ball to Jack O'Donoghue. Offloads, and he reckons he's scored. So let's have a look here, shall we? That's a lot of boots. I'm not sure I'm seeing much happening in there. I'm not sure we're going to find any grounding. I'm seeing a head in the back there. I'm not seeing a ball at the moment. I don't know what, I couldn't actually hear what the on-field try was. There he seems to go over. Where's the line? Oh, I tell you what, I think he's potentially behind or on it. That's very close. Yeah, try stands. It was on-field. The decision was the try there, and they've confirmed that it is on the line. So Munster do get on the board. Big time to score that. With 20 minutes to go in the first half, and get themselves something back into the game. Jack O'Donoghue getting the credits for the try there. So 14 points to 7. Game on here. Munster have barely been in the game, but that last sort of 3-4 minutes passage was a good one for them, and that's done very well there as Alex Nankerville just to get away from a couple of Bulls players and get a nice platform here for Craig Casey. He wants a bit of a better angle, pops it up to Phelan Wishley, who carries well. Still inside the 22, so has got the safety of that if he wants to kick it directly into touch. Craig Casey then goes to the boot. And we'll find a decent touch final. I'll be just shy of the halfway line, I think. Looks like Amy... No, it's not Amy Bertrand. She's not involved, I don't think, in this weekend's fixture. I think she's actually doing sevens. I could be completely wrong. Tony's saying they needed that. That's right. It was Bristol Bears that had that. That's it. That had that quote. Thank you very much, Marco. Yeah, horrible when you start saying that they're an advertising agency that plays rugby, and they basically. I don't know what they're trying to say. They're trying to basically say that the most important thing for them is to be able to fund the programs and to be financially stable. Blah 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 blah. And as a result, that's a mentality that you're kind of trying to commercialize every aspect. And how do you really up your sponsorships and the likes of that? But it's just it's a worrying space to be there when you know we start making decisions based on the commercial value, not the rugby value. But off the back of the lineup, though, Bulls have gone through a few phases here. Pick up and go coming from Caden Moody makes a yard or two. Bulls the ball comes loose, but a penalty. I think it's hands-on, and I think they were to the floor there, says the referee. No rolling away is the call from Piardi. Michael Alatoa. And if I'm the Bulls, I'm taking the 3 points here. Yeah, that's exactly what Andre Pollard has said. Yeah, no issue there from Andre Pollard. And he brings up 7 points off his boot so far. 17-7. It's a good reply from the Bulls to concede and be able to put 3 points and just basically make that Munster try essentially a 4-pointer. I mean, it's playoff rugby at the end of the day. You got to keep that scoreboard ticking the entire time. The more you can keep that scoreboard ticking, the more comfortable you are and the more pressure that starts to build on Munster if they can't replicate that. Hanahan will once again go to the right-hand side. This time a little bit shorter, and they're going to bring in Ruan from Mark. And in fact, Ruan Nokia thinking very well out the air. It was a good chase coming there. I think it was Mike Haley. And Ambrose Pierre, this time he needs to make sure he doesn't get caught on the timer again. Doesn't. Brings the ball out, and it's high. Trevino Jacobs gives chase. It's a great... Oh, no, it's put in front, and that's really good work there from Mark. Gets the offload away to Ambrose Pierre as well. Right inside. Space here for the Bulls. Free LaRue. Long pass out towards Caden Moody. Caden Moody inside to Curtly Arnson. Curtly Arnson gets away from one. Has it gone forward? Yes, it has from the referee. Silly from Curtly Arnson. I don't think he needed to really throw that ball away. Good work there from the Bulls to find that. So a bit silly. A little bit silly. So scrum just past the 5-meter line on the left-hand side of the field. Ah, my match tracker. Where's my match tracker gone? There it is. There's our match tracker, just keeping a bit informed of what's cooking that bottom right side. Although it doesn't seem to be very accurate of exactly where we are there. We're a little bit further to the left-hand side. Hopefully that'll catch up eventually. Otherwise, we'll have to bin it. Fortunately, that all comes down to data divider. I'm not exactly sitting there doing a track of where the ball is on my end. Tony's saying, great to see 3 South African teams playing today. Imagine we had 3 South African teams playing next weekend. It would be, in the words of good old Rudy Stander, simply sensational. It would also guarantee us the team in the final, which would be pretty cool. It will be a very busy weekend, though, that final weekend. because you got the Bok game there as well. Ball in the front foot. Come through though. A long pass out wide. Space. And it'll be interesting to see what the Bok team's going to look like. So the URC Finals is a week before that Barbarians game. Ball over the top of the space out for Jack O'Donoghue. Puts his shoulder down as Ambrose Pierre. Does bring him down. Good work there being done by Munster. Football. Lochman now. Still going as Lochman, but he's ripped in the tackle with Cameron Harnecombe. Always goes for the ball. It's Cameron Harnecombe. An incredible skill set he has. That's what I think makes it is a bit of a point of difference. Is the skill set he's got, despite being a very large and imposing unit. But Leroux now bit of space. Goes short. Direct for Kanan Moody. Ball available for Kurt Lawrence. He sees a half gap. Kurt Lawrence goes straight through. And Kurt Lawrence, he was away and he was through, to be fair. But I think the ball lost forward in the process. Tony says, nope, not with Lions playing Leicester at home in Dublin. I mean, it's the hope that kills you when it comes to the Lions. You know what? At the end of the day, we're in the Champions Cup next season. And I know that Sorry are supposedly reassessing whether we're going to play in it, but we will play in it next year. And the Lions will play in the Champions Cup, which means I could see Toulouse play down at Ellis Park. I'm going to go watch one of the games because whatever the team it is, it's going to be one of the top 8 sides in the Prem or the top 8 sides in the top 15. Top 14. And who knows? Maybe there is a... Anton DuPont won't travel. You know, it doesn't come to South Africa. But who knows? We're going to have a look at I think this is a bit harsh, you know. They talked about obstruction there. I think it's very harsh on the Bulls, to be perfectly honest. Tony Griff says Stormers and Bulls will probably go through today. I'm hoping so anyway. And then free... There's a lot of ease there, dude. What's happening here? Fee Ramirez says, just wondering what awareness is this essay about Island of Ireland and Northern Republic, because he was none the wise about the Ireland. Yeah. To be fair, I think a lot of South Africans think you kind of just all one big entity over there with the Republic of Ireland versus Northern Ireland. I don't think you help your case in the fact that Ireland, the rugby nation, plays within both, and then football you separate. But yes. Ball available, Craig Casey to the left-hand side. They go, left lost forward there from Andrew Smith. Knock on advantage for the Bulls. Chip over the top from Kanan Moody. Bit silly given the fact that would have been penalty advantage. Ron Nokia on the ball. Everybody's got to see to stop. Hernan Kobolov, thankfully, is way for the threat. Now, Willie Leroux wants to chip and chase. Backing himself, Willie Leroux. But that's very well read by, I think that's Sean O'Brien. He's done very well. Munster back, just outside the 22. Jan Ackerman probably would have preferred them seeing somebody ward up that ball downfield. But at the same time, this is kind of a bit of Jan Ackerman rugby with the chips and chase and trying to be a bit more deft about things. And there's turnover ball. He's off. And it's no ball over the top. Ruan O'Keefe can't quite gather it. It's very messy rugby at the moment. Ruan O'Keefe just tackling basically anybody in and around the ball. He took 2 there down, and then that's dropped. I think the first knock-on came from the ball, so I think it will be a Munster scrum. But goodness me, that was just one big mess. Ruan from Mark rather coming through the middle, and the referee said it was fine to play. So Craig Casey being caught on that. Tony says, "Lol, look, at least South Africans I see in the URC as a good competition." Oh yeah, we're big fans. To be fair, I think our South Africans and the Irish are pretty aligned with the URC. I think the Italians like the URC. I think the Scots are pretty happy with the URC. Just the Welsh are just in a bit of a shit show, to be honest. And to be fair, a lot of the Welsh fans, I think, are still with the URC, but I think very aware of the struggles, and I think financially, obviously, it makes a lot of sense if they were to go to the Prem, and that's why this whole sort of Anglo-Welsh league is coming up. I don't really think that it's the way to go, but who am I? Oh dear, there goes another Munster player down, I think. Or no, is he alright? No, he should be alright. Right, so 12 minutes left, or 11 minutes really left of the first half. It's felt like a very long half. But it's been a high-scoring half so far. 24 points to it, 17-7, 10 points in it. So it's been pretty close. I mean, everybody's talked about this could be a big scoreline. Well, Munster responded well. They were a bit asleep in the first 10, but this has been a problem for them as their scrum. And that's a bit better for Munster. That's a solid scrum. Front foot ball there for Brian. And Nankivell finds a bit of space. Gets thrown away. Haley now with options. Cuts inside. Vinny LaRue doesn't make the tackle, but Cameron Harner comes back, does very, very well. Ball available for Craig Casey. Quick ball needed. Quick ball does come. And Mark Alatoa in that full flow. Quick ball once again to the left-hand side. Good hands here from Munster. Ball over the top. Vinny LaRue's made the call. Makes the tackle on Jack O'Donoghue. Needed to and did. Craig Casey now. Munster a bit more structured. Big carry. They're coming back. Big hit coming from the Bulls as well. Ruben O'Keefe can try to get over that ball. Told to leave it. Does. To left-hand side. Jack O'Donoghue. Now Scannell now. Craig Casey to the right-hand side. Ball pops up. Good work this year from Munster. Just trying to work Bulls over. Working hard in the tackle is John Hodnett. Slow ball here from Craig Casey. Ball pops up for William Wishley. Lochman now. 12 phases. Munster need to be patient. Convert a try. And they go to 3 points behind. Still going down that right-hand side. Craig Casey pops it up to Phelan Wishley. He's been through a lot of work since coming on. Still going down that short side. Just trying to create a bit of space out wide. There comes the advantage. Now I'm sure we'll see Craig Casey. He's going to go one more time to the right. I'm sure with the penalty advantage, surely they'll go to the left-hand side and have a go. Nope, still keeping it safe, yeah. But to be fair, they make a yard or two. Alatoa pops it up. 13 offside. Another penalty advantage. But Munster don't want to take the risk. Keeping in the forwards. Keeping in the forwards. There goes Jeremy Lochman. Now, here we go. Craig Casey. Flat. Ball up to Bright. Just short. 5 meters up. Quick ball from Craig Casey. Long ball up top to Haley. Haley steps aside. We thought about reaching, but knew he wasn't going to get there. Craig Casey to the right-hand side. Alatoa! Has Ruan Nokia stopped him? He has. The ball's there, and they've gone over. Well, it's a great tackle from Ruan Nokia, but in vain as Munster hit back with their second. Or, in fact, are we going to have a look at it? No, I think we actually see a yellow card, potentially. Let's go to some of the comments. So Catherine's saying, in fairness, there's people in the UK that don't know about the island and the island Republic and North, etc. Well, there we go. Tony says, European team against South African teams is a great opportunity to test each other. I love the URC. I mean, let's be honest, the only problem with the URC is the geographical issues. I don't think anyone has ever questioned the standard of rugby, the types of teams involved, the players involved, the coaches involved. It's just the geographic thing. But I think with the money that we have and you can kind of do a business class overnight flight, I think it is manageable. I really do. I mean, as European teams, you have to come over here for 2-3 weeks. And I think the players love it. The fans are sitting there saying, "Oh, this, that." The coaches maybe might not love it, but the players love it. I've yet to meet a player who doesn't like touring South Africa. You come here with the Euro, you spend it, and it goes a long way. It's a fantastic place to come tour. Good high hanging kick that from Andre Pollard and all over the ball. Cameron Hanekom's on it, and he has indeed. That is a phenomenal kickoff. It was held high in the air from Andre Pollard. Kurt Lawrence was on the man quickly. Cameron Hanekom was there, gets his hand straight over the ball, and once again win a penalty. If they can knock this over, although I think this will probably go towards the corner, given the time and the position of the penalty, they are going to look to the corner, and he gets some points. I'll tell you what, that is a big, big game play that coming from Cameron Hanekom. Ball's available. It goes down. Johan Kobler has to get back to his feet. Johan Kobler is going to go over anyway. They just stopped playing. It was almost just like they were like, didn't know what to do in Munster. Johan Kobler's got over. Try number 3. That's bizarre. I mean, the more kind of just broke down. He kind of got up and had half an hour to almost get up. And then kind of just strolled over. It was so weird. The more completely breaks down. Might they say that there is obstruction here, though? Because the big tackle that was coming has gone straight into Francois Klopper. They might have a look at that. I don't know. I don't think he really moved, to be fair. So, I don't think so. I think that's fair play. I think it's what the referee's also saying is fair play. And Pollard is 3 from 3 here. And this is the problem that Munster have had. Every time they've scored, they've allowed the Bulls to hit back almost immediately. And no issue once again from Andre Pollard. He is 4 from 4 for the boot. 24 points to 14. That 10-point lead is restored with just less than 5 minutes left on the clock. Who got the second Munster try? Alex Nankivell is who has been credited with it. Jack O'Donoghue with the first. A couple of people already off to the beer run. Very important to stay hydrated in these conditions. Once again, Albert Lowe gets away from one, goes charging ahead as Albert Lowe off the kickoff. Bulls, I think, will be fancying more points before this half ends. They've got 4 minutes to get themselves back into the Munster territory, and ideally for them, there'll be a penalty, get a 3-point, put themselves 13 ahead at half time. They'll take 10 points at half time, but I think that they'll be frustrated how easily they let Munster back in with those 2 tries. But they did well to respond from them. Oh, that's a very awkward kick, and that's been spilled forward. This is where, what did I say? I talked about the fact an opportunity to score some more points. Well, this could well be it. It's a swirling kick in the air. Mike Haley's made a massive hash of it. He's knocked it forward. It's going to be a scrum just inside Munster territory, and this is very much in Andre Pollard's range to be able to knock this over 3 if they can get the penalty from the scrum. Alternatively, you win the penalty, kick to the corner. Let's masturbate, say, hey, how's it going? Yeah, look, I mean, so far for the Bulls, pretty well, 24 points to 14, but I think this game is far from over. It's pretty evenly contested, to be honest. They're kind of just trading blows. After take away that one bit of a weak, a soft try, I think, from Billy LaRue. You took away 7 points, for example, and you'd be sitting at 17-14. I think that's kind of more effective where the game is. Free kick this time from the Bulls. Ambrose Pierre goes to Harold Forster. Harold Forster pops it up to Pollard. Oh, soft hands from Billy LaRue. Now Kurt Lawrence with a space out wide. Kurt Lawrence wrapped up by Nankivell. He's had a strong game so far. Ball available. Kenny Moody picks up and go. Gets the ball into Harold Forster. Oh, out the back goes Harold Forster to Moss. Got Sear, who's marauding his way into the 22. Pick up and go from Harold Forster. Brilliant stuff from the Bulls here. Ambrose Pierre goes to secure the ball. A big counter coming from Munster. And that ball has been played on the ground. Hands beyond the ball, says that the referee's a penalty for Munster. The Bulls fans letting them know what they think. And a few minutes says, SA teams in URC has been a game changer, playing against players like Pollard, LaRue, Orense, box office. Well, I mean, Pollard's only been here for a year, but I'm very much with your point. Satch Famigom is really coming through all the time. Damien Willemse being a big part of the URC, you know. And even your URC, you know what I love about domestic competitions are those domestic heroes, and they're often not the big internationals. Like Evan Ruiz it would probably be considered URC legend in inverted commas. I mean, he won players around the back goes Cameron Honeycomb. And I tell you what, if you're not going to tackle him, you're not going to say no to a try. And the Bulls are over for try number 4. No bonus points in the playoffs, but they will get one if it were. And that is a big moment just before halftime. I don't know what you've got to get players on Cameron Honeycomb. Round the corner he goes. It's far too easy for him. I mean, it's a good run. He shows his power, but it's not good defending. If we're going to be brutally honest, ball over to the back of the round. Round the corner he comes, and Hanrahan just plays a bit of touch rugby. To be honest, doesn't make a very good hit. Neither does Sean O'Brien. All of a sudden, John Hodden is trying to basically hold him up over the line. Yeah, it's too late by then. So 29 points to 14. Big moment in the game. I think if you're a Bulls fan, you're pretty chuffed with life as you're about to go into halftime. No issues once again, Monja Pod. 31 points to 14. Now that is now a pretty comfortable scoreline if you're a Bulls fan going into halftime. And with 15 seconds to go, this is all about the Bulls taking us out the air, going through a couple of phases, and then getting this ball out and saying thank you very much. We'll take some halftime oranges with a decent lead, sitting at 17 points. Looking for the rolling Moya. Ball is available, and it goes back to Andre Pollard. And he just practices little torpedoes into the crowd. And the Bulls said, thank you very much. We'll take that at half. Well, it's a good half from the Bulls. A very good half. They lead 31 points to 14. We'll be back after half time for the second half as the Bulls try and book their spot in the URC semifinals. Let me know what your thoughts on the first half in the comments. We're going to take a short break. And when we're back, more action. And we're back for the second half. And at this stage, Bulls very much in control. 31 points to 14 after a very good first half. Munster came back. They did. They didn't go away for a while. And it was looking pretty solid for them to stay in the game. But then that late try, well, that two tries really have put a bit of a dent into the game for them. But still, if they can score early, they can get themselves back in here. Important for the Bulls, if they want to really bury this game, is to get themselves on the score sheet early themselves and try and finish the game off a little bit. But yeah, your predictions here, 31 points to 14. What's the final score going to be? Let me know down in the poll whether you think Munster can come back to create an upset as Craig Casey goes further downfield. He will find touch. Not a bad touch find. Vili Leroux is not going to take it quickly. And this is the big thing when you talk about these sort of situations. This is where it gets really nice for like a Bulls, is they don't have to force the issue. They don't have to take risks. They can just keep knocking over those threes. They can go into game management mode, whereas Munster have to chase the game now. They have to really try and take the risks and get themselves back into it. So it's not kind of the crowd we would have hoped for seen for lots of that. 1 o'clock doesn't really help. There's lots of schoolboy rugby happening at this time. A 5 o'clock game would have been much bigger, and I think we'll probably see that next if they have a home game next weekend. Chipper Chase from Potter, the ball's available, but there's a knock on there from Munster, and this is the problem. Far too many small mistakes like that, which just bring the Bulls into the game, get themselves on the front foot, and if there is an early score here from the Bulls, it becomes a very, very big task for Munster to try and come back. So at the moment, most of the people who are voting in the poll don't really think that there is much of a chance of them making that comeback. And then afterwards, we've got a big game coming up. Hoppers 3, Stormers versus Cardiff. Also, interesting time to have it. Obviously, lots of different sport to try and juggle up. There's Champions League final later at 6 o'clock. There's then the Lions versus Leinster at 9 o'clock. So I've got quite a big stacked day of sport ahead of me, to be honest. Advantage there for the Bulls, an opportunity for them early on yet. Comes back across the angle. Does Harold Forster. Ball available there for Ambrose Pierre. To left-hand side. Gerard Stennekamp. I'm not seeing advantage. I thought I heard advantage. And that's been knocked forward. But yeah, there was an advantage. It's immediately going back. That's what I thought I heard. You didn't see the graphic on the screen. Tell you what, Francois Klopp has taken his opportunity here. Lots of people are worried about what's going to happen with, Wilco Low moving and the likes of that. Well, he's definitely put his hand up today and said, well, don't worry too much. Don't worry too much. Yeah, it's so good. That ball, just that second shove comes in, and Munster just have no chance whatsoever. And taking the points here, Sondre Pollock hits his head down and misses to the right. Well, that is very, very, very strange. We don't usually see that. Right, so Munster down the right-hand side. Vili Leroux pops up to Moscow here, puts his head down. John Hodnett, though, holds on very well. Kane Mooney now had a quiet game through that offside, that forward pass, but hasn't really been able to get much into it since then. And a chip over the top, not quite coming off for the Bulls. Maybe guilty of trying to sort of force the issue a little bit. Now ball comes loose and it'll be knocked down. A little bit messy so far. I haven't quite sort of settled into this half. as much as I think Bulls fans would like, but so yeah, scrum. I mean, that's not an ideal situation. I mean, for the Munster, for example, if it starts getting to a situation where you win a scrum and you're kind of going, "Eesh, this is still not ideal," because the Bulls scrum at the moment is just dominating so much. And it's amazing when you now got that scrum as your weapon, how it's not just an attacking weapon; it's such a big defensive weapon. Because all of a sudden, I mean, they scored the first try on a Munster scrum. That's how good their scrum has been. So this is where I can't really emphasize the importance of a scrum enough, and a good lineout. You know, your set pieces is the foundations of rugby union. At the end of the day, Craig Case to the left hand side. Those much better scrum this time from Munster, and a good work around them from hand to hand. Now, a bit of space out wide. Smith comes inside. In fact, it's actually Daly. Casey now, hand to hand, brings in the forwards. Good hands, though. Much better this from Munster. Bit of space there for Nankerville. Nankerville, it's been good today. Gets away from one. Much better this from Munster. Casey, there's a Munster player down there in the background. Long pass out wide, up against the touchline is Jack O'Donoghue. Cameron Harnicourt makes a good tackle, gets up and gets his hands on the ball very quickly, but the referee says leave, and he actually gets pushed off the ball. And now going to go forward, but there's a penalty advantage for offside, I think it was. Obviously, our offside is the call from the referee. So going to the touch on Munster. They need to. They can't. I mean, they're so far behind at the moment. They've got to try and find tries. It's not a game they're going to get into 3 points at a time, unfortunately. And that's where I said the onus is on them to make the big plays, because the Bulls, as they tried to do, although Pollard missed it, a bit of an uncharacteristic miss that from Pollard. 3 points at a time for the Bulls was absolutely perfect, but not enough for Munster. They're on the 5 meter line though, so and to be fair to Munster, what they've done really well throughout this game is responded. But giving the ball to the Bulls is not the way to do it, as the Bulls do really well to win that line out, and Master Garcia now will take the hit. And that kind of maybe sums up a little bit of it for Munster, that they've just not been able to put together enough passages of play with a positive. They're not enough positive outcomes to read. But they're quickly now. Mark Haley with a bit of space, so he's going to go on a run himself. Now he decides to go a bit lateral, gets away from one comment. You're not going to get away from Cameron Harnicourt. Not in the mood that he's in. Definitely probably leading the man of the match calls at the moment is Cameron Harnicourt. And penalty quickly taken. Oh no, Craig Casey, what have you done? What have you done? Tried to take it quickly, but then lost the ball forward. I don't mind taking it quickly. I think it was the right play, to be honest, but not a particularly good little kick up to himself. It's the right play. I think it's the right thing to do. Just botches it. Right, scrum yeah for the Bulls. Much better scrum this time from Munster. They're slowly starting to get a bit more ascendancy. Not ascendancy, but a little bit, at least parity. Now a bit of space for Kenny Moody. Kenny Moody pops it up for Kurt Lawrence. Kurt Lawrence has got the pace. Is reeled in by hand to hand. And as they're handed, no, referee says first player, so he's allowed to play it. So big turnover ball, that from Munster. Good work, that from Munster. Much better. And let's talk about these kind of positive outcomes. Now you got to try and find a second positive outcome, whether that's a field advantage gain, for example, bit of territory. Show for the kick, but then a bit of a dummy actually from Craig Casey. Now comes the kick. I think it was Haley puts it deep. And I'll tell you what, if that gives a good balance, that's going to be a 50-22. That's brilliant. Now that's what I'm talking about. That is exactly what I'm talking about. Build on positive outcomes. Positive outcome number 1, you turn the ball over. Positive outcome number 2, you've got a 50-22. And all of a sudden, you've gone from defending on your own 10 meter to having a attacking line inside of 22. And that's where we talk about positive outcomes, and it's positive outcomes can be anything. It can be a dominant tackle, it can be a couple of yards gain, but you got to just build positive outcomes. And if you can, I think it's something like there's actually like a whole I'll speak to people who know better about the game. There's a whole sort of almost a bit of an equation where if you could put together like let's say like 4 to 5 positive outcomes, you usually your chance of scoring points, for example, like go up astronomically, obviously. But that's the big thing, is that you kind of need to almost break a game down into those sort of moments and say, right, well, if we can put together 4 positive outcomes, we can score tries. Craig Casey now, bit of space here. Munster playing with a bit of flair all of a sudden. Haley stepping away from a couple. They're 5 minutes out, John Munster looking very good. Cameron Honeycomb over the ball, but moves over quite quickly. Oh no, and they're throwing the ball straight to the hands of Curtly Orange, but he's throwing the hands back into Munster. And a couple of changes here for Munster, because that is Alex Kendlin on the ball. Gavin Coombs also floating around in the number 20 jersey. Now ball's gone down, not lost forward. Craig Casey down the short side, wants to chip over the top. And we'll go back for the knock on. But that's what I said, so there we go. Positive outcome number 1 was the turnover. Positive outcome number 2 was the 50-22. But then you throw an intercept. Whereas if you throw that pass and sticks, you're not 5 meters out. Your next positive outcome, if it is a positive outcome, would likely be a try or penalty and points. So sometimes you can break it down into that simplicity of small positive outcomes throughout the match. And I think, the main thing is if you have a counter of how many positive outcomes versus negative outcomes, or how many positive outcomes versus opposition positive outcomes, you'll generally win games when you are dominating on the number of those. That is obviously breaking rugby down to be pretty straightforward, which is obviously not always the case. But sometimes it's nice to think about rugby or think about sport in general, actually, in different ways. Because I think the way we watch rugby is very different to the way that coaches watch rugby, or scouts will watch rugby, or analysts will watch rugby. And that's where, like, Rassie Erasmus talks about your battle stats. And, they'll say something like Evan Ruiz looks very good, very flair, and scores tries, but what are his battle stats saying? And they'll have a completely different way of assessing a player and assessing performance than what we will. And they'll have different things that they look out for. And that's why, like, for example, lots of people say Quacker Smith is too small, doesn't bring in the impact. He doesn't run over people like Jasper Wiese does. But if you look at his inverted commas battle stats, he brings so much. It's a huge scrum from the Bulls, but they do manage to get it out, does Gavin Coombs. So ball is available for Craig Casey. They go short to O'Donoghue. Not much gain there. Casey throwing half a dummy, and then almost once again, straight onto the ball, it goes the Bulls. Lochman now, he's putting a big shift. He's still going as Lochman, the big prop. Now what, Haley. Numbers over here, but well read from McCain and Moody on hand. Now big hit from Oscar Garcia. Not much of a structure here from Munster. And intercepts Ambrose Appear. Has he got the pace? Ambrose appears off. No one's going to catch him. That could well be signed, sealed, and delivered by Ambrose Papier. He just cannot stop, can he? That is brilliant from him. And that could very well be the game. 36 points to 14. While some people are saying at one stage it was threatening to get a bit out of hand. And, well, that try could, first of all, probably very much sealed the game. And you're right, it could get out of hand. You don't want to see a blowout at quarterfinal level. But again, it's all for Munster mistake. It's a soft try. There's been 2-3 soft tries I think the Munster have had, and that's where maybe they've been speaking about the fact that Munster, they've gotten to the playoffs, yes, but they're not playing at the kind of level that they want to be playing at. And you see as the half gap ball kind of follows up and then lands into the hands of Versfeld, who's got plenty of pace to burn. And if I'm the Bulls, I'm taking him off immediately. Put that man in cotton wool, put him in an armored suit, get him into an ice bath, and make sure that he is ready to run out next weekend. Because right now, Ambrose Papier is dragging the Bulls through thick and thin. He's been absolutely sensational this weekend. Now, Albert Lowe with the kickoff. Peter Wishley completes the tackle. 38 points to 14. What a game so far this has been from the Bulls. And yeah, I mean, it's a bit simplistic to say that Ambrose Papier is dragging them through because they've all been good, but he's just on a different level at the moment. Him and Cameron Harnicombe, who is there, misses out on the tackle, but big tackle there on Mike Cady. Craig Case to the left-hand side. Nice space out wide. Comes back inside, does Nankivell. He's been solid today, in fairness. In a what would likely be a losing cause. He's been one of the more positive performances. I think they've really missed Jack Crowley. I don't think Hanrahan's really managed to have much of a grip of the game. It doesn't help that his pack's moving backwards. No fly half really thrives with a pack that's going backwards. But I don't think he's been able to really affect the game like you'd want to. But now, a bit of space out wide, long pass out wide. He's made the read there, has Andre Pollard, and comes across as Ambrose Papier. Of course, he does to make the tackle. Now to the left-hand side they go. Wishley, flat. At a toe. Nankivell with a good space. Nankivell goes through. Still going as Nankivell. Brought down by Albert Lowe. Much better this from Munster. Looking to try and hit back immediately. Kirtley answers up quickly to make the tackle. Does make the tackle. It's an important tackle as well. Good hands there for Munster. Coombs wrapped up. It's still going as Gavin Coombs. Eventually brought down. And we're going to stop the ball because I think that Donahue is down with a head injury. So Piali not taking any chances, which is the right thing to do. And they'll resume with a Munster scrum. And yeah, I think come a few substitutions from the Bulls, which is the right thing to do. First of all, the game's pretty much wrapped up. It's also at altitude when Munster now, but yeah, you see, and they're making plenty of substitutes. Off goes Marcel Coetzee, off goes Ambrose Papier, off goes Gerard Steenekamp, off goes Ruan Vermaak, off goes Francois Klopper. And in fairness to the Bulls, not like they're bringing on any on mugs in their place. You know, Marco van Staren's going to come on. He's actually covering hooker today. Actually, I don't know if he is going to come on yeah, he's being ready to come on. He's not quite on yet, but I'm interested to see who's going to come on for. I don't think he'll come on for Jan Kabbalah, to be perfectly honest. But you've also got Jan Hendrik Wessels who can slot in that hooker, but he's come on at prop. But it looks like Kobus Wieser's on. It looks like Morne Smith's on. Jan Hendrik Wessels on. Assume that Jean-Louis Rudolph was on as well. Paul de Vet. No Stedman Gans just yet. No Sertel Peterson just yet. Jack O'Donoghue back on his feet. That's good for them. Okay, big moment here for Munster. I mean, it's 24 minutes to go. They've got to score. And it's a big scrum they're coming from the Bulls, and they're going to get the penalty. And that is just shows the dominance they've had. They've used the scrum as the base for everything. And for Jan Hendrik Wessels and Morne Smith to come on and to do a job like that shows you, first of all, the depth the Bulls have got, and also just how Munster have not been able to match them at scrum time. They started to find a little bit of parity, a little bit of being a bit competitive, but it didn't last particularly long. And now we're really starting to see the dominance come through. Catherine says, Crowley seriously missed by Munster today, but not the only reason for the score. I agree. I know exactly what you're saying. I think that not saying that if Crowley was playing, the result would be different, but I do think that they have missed him. I think he plays such a big role in the side, and not having him has been a huge absence. A bit of a messy scrum that, and the ball's got loose, but Harold Forster there to clean up. Harold Forster gets the all away. Ronald Keir's not going to go for a bit of a run, and he's got numbers. He's got plenty of numbers. John Rudolph has scored down just by the 22. Paul de Vet, ball over the top to Villileroux. Oh, surely got to be a try. Yeah, Villileroux pops it up to Cody Arons. Kind of ran up into a space. A little bit indecisive with those two. Paul de Vet now throws it out to Kubas Visa. Nokia now started the whole move in the first place. Ball available for Paul de Vet. Scrum. So try now. Oh, that's a dreadful pass. Pollard, but on the bounce goes to Villileroux. Ball over the top to Tofino Jacobs. And he puts his head down, and he's actually going to go through. Easy as that. Easy as that. They found the space. They've got through. They've scored a try. They've cancelled out Munsters. And very much in the driver's seat here are the Bulls. Yeah, this is getting a bit out of hand. It's getting a bit out of hand. This could be a big score. A very, very big score. And Pollard, as he got, that looks pretty good actually. Yup, the flags are raised. That's a brilliant kick from him. And that's gonna be the game. I mean, it's 47 points to 14 now. It's a big score now. It's getting a bit embarrassing, to be brutally honest. And this has been a rout so far, and it could get bigger. To be honest, it could even get bigger. Third try of the season there for Tofino Jacobs. Knock-on advantage there from the Bulls for Munster, but look how there's just no structure. There's the entire thing is just no. And again, I mean, that ball over the top, it's going to go out. They're just not competing at 45 points to 14. I don't know why I said 47. 45 points to 14. It's a dominant performance, and this will give the Bulls so much confidence, moving into next weekend. I said it took a while for them to get going. They weren't at their best, but Johan Ackerman said, "You got to give me time. I've got to be able to really stamp my authority on the game, on this team, and kind of get things going." So it was always going to take a bit of time, and now you're starting to see the fruits of the labor, so to speak, because they are starting to play at a level that could potentially maybe go all the way. And I'll tell you what, Jake White will be fuming to a certain degree. I mean, he'll tell you he'll be very happy, but if they go on to do it, it'll be a huge victory for it will be vindicated, won't you? A decision. And I think, to be fair, we've known that they've always had the talent, the Bulls, but the vibes weren't there. You didn't have a very good atmosphere, and you didn't have a very good environment. And I think that they then said, well, we've got the talent. That's not the issue. We don't have a player issue. We have an atmosphere, a culture, a environment issue. And then they brought in a Jan Ackerman who is so good at that. That's what he does. He's a man manager. He gets the best out of individual players. And we're now starting to see just how far and just how important that kind of coach is. Turnover ball once again. Cameron Honican with a bit of space. Gets it to Paul de Vet. Paul de Vet can't really free his hands. Eventually goes backwards into the hands of Morne Smith. Less than 20 minutes on the clock. Pick up and go coming from Kobus Visa. Loftus Versfeld is now getting involved. Now, I'll tell you what, he's not a bad bet to score a try before the game is up. Now, there's Steban Gans. Sees a bit of space and just puts, and that's such a good kick. Not much on Steban Gans. Just thinks, you know what, we'll just put a kick in behind, drive them backwards a bit. And again, as I said, they don't have to make the play. They're kicking behind is such a clever little play because they're putting Munster back. They're not going to score from there. So as I said, they don't have to make any of the plays here. They're in the driving seat, and it's been they're driving a pretty big bus. In the comments, Tony says, hopefully Stormers versus Cardiff will be a closer game in an hour. Doubted though. Bulls to play Glasgow Warriors in Scotland next week. And Premier says, I don't, fans are surprised with being blown away. Robin says, good to see you. Thanks for the commentary. Yeah, we're back. We're back. Don't you stress, guys. We are now back into the thick of things. It's semi-finals, it's finals, it's Springbok week. And then we're going to actually have a bit of a week off, to be honest. And that's going to be the deep breath until we go into a huge season. The greatest rivalry tour is going to be absolutely epic. I need to get my tickets, actually. Going to go watch the Lions game. Going to be a lot of fun. And there goes Cameron Honican. I think a pretty good candidate for man of the match. Malcolm is starting on for him. We were working. People are busy complaining about the stadium DJ. Poor man. Never really in the good books. The Loftus one. I just assume he doesn't have social media. Because everyone's always complaining about or maybe it's a different one every time, and they're all just equally as guilty of doing what people are complaining about. Right, Munster deep inside their 22, still trying to find something to get themselves back in the game. But I mean, at 31 points to try and find is a lot of points. It is plenty of points. It's a stupid number of points, really. Ball over the top, and they will find touch as Kurt Lawrence doesn't always anchor anything, hopefully. So Bulls on the halfway line. Now it's a bit of a who wants to try these days. A little bit of a dummy run there coming from John Day Rudolph. Bruno Kier just playing like a flower out there. Really, really nice. Quick ball. Shavina Jacobs with a bit of space. Comes inside, gets the ball back inside, straight into the hands of Hanrahan, who throws it out towards Shane Daly. On it quickly, there was Andre Polo, though, makes the tackle. Oh no. I mean, that's just been tossed to nobody. That kind of sums it up, doesn't it? A pass like that. Kobus Visa. Off he goes, the big man. Loses it forward, though, in the tackle. And ball available for Munster. We'll go back for the knock-on over here. Captain says, Munster qualified for European Champions Cup next year and finished 5th in URC table. Munster faithfuls always behind the team, stand up and fight. Well, that's the thing. It's not all bad. This has been a disappointing performance, though. This is not... We expect better, from a side like Munster. You don't want to be, as you said, in that kind of situation and then get hammered in a quarterfinal. I just hope the Lions don't do this. But the Lions, no Asnati Tlabakanye, no Ruan Fenter, no Morne van den Berg, who's probably been our player of the season, no Bronson Mills, who's been so good. It's a Lions side with lots of injuries, but Mahashi's going to score a hat-trick. Let's cook. Scrum now in the top of the 22 on the far right-hand side. It is a Munster feed. Another penalty for the Bulls, even though it's not their feed, and that's been the story of the day so far. Right, now we kind of all the attention starts to focus to the game that kicks off in less than an hour. Stormers versus Cardiff as Pollard just pops into the corner. The Bulls looking for try number 7 at this stage. Cross points to SN20 playing Georgia. There's actually so much rugby happening today and this weekend. We've also got sevens happening this weekend. Oh, it's got through everyone's hands. Munster's hands, then Bulls' hands. It is apparently a Bulls going to be a scrum. So I think it was both knock on from both of them, but the first one coming from Munster to try to get ahead of that. I need a new chair. Problem is the cost of this thing is stupid. It's like $5,000 these days. I can't believe the cost of the cost of living crisis. We need to have a chat about this. Feel free to become a member and contribute towards my chair. Only like 200 members will get there. What a disaster. And the cost of petrol as well. We're struggling out here. You know, I'm feeling a bit like Munster right now, just in terms of life and the way that finances are railing me. Big scrum there. Ball's, however, almost been left behind. Johnny Rudolph was aware to it and managed to get the ball over. And Paul DeVet's come through. Ball's come out and been kicked backwards. And Kanan Moody is tossed on towards Willie LaRue, who's done very well. Gone it away to Kanan Moody. In fact, it was actually Steman Hunt. Kanan Moody's back shifted off to the wing. And they've lost about 20 odd meters of the Bulls back towards their own 22. Trying to get on the front foot again. Paul DeVet. Options to his right. Ruben Okia, so a carry from him. Kubas Vitsa. Now Velura at first receiver. Kanan Moody pops it short to Johan Kobbelaar. Is going to play a full 80. Mark Starden. It was his official cover, but came on for Cameron Harnacorn. Johnny Rudolph will play Marcel Kutsia. Spinning the tackle is Jan Hendrik Wessels. Paul DeVet, not too many options. Kind of has to go himself. It's a little bit isolated, in fact. Silly that from Paul DeVet. Had the options there. We're not here now in that scrum off. Looks for options. Goes out towards Mark Starden. Mark Starden gets away from one. Gets the offload his way to pops out for Willie LaRue. Willie LaRue with a bit of space. Willie LaRue steps away from 1. 2. Can't get the ball on the bounce with Amore Smith. It's a bit chaotic, but the Bulls have got it and they're 5 meters up. Not quite sure how they managed to hold on to a few of those passes. Willie LaRue goes to, I don't think he was meant for Kanan Moody. He's been knocked forward. And over the line there, they'll go back for a 5-meter scrum from Munster. The standard of rugby, the quality of rugby's kind of just left the building at the moment. And we're currently all voting for the man of the match. Not entirely sure I like the whole voting man of the match because we do it so early. We do it like the 55th, 60th minute, and then the man of the match, for example, could go and throw like 3 intercept tries, and they can still get man of the match. It's a bit of a weird one for me. I mean, it's nice to get fan input, but they give you the options they give you are far too early. All right, there goes Villaroo. That was his last contribution for the game. And on will come Sergio Peterson, who will see out the final 10 minutes. A very chuffed-looking Bulls dugout. Penalty for Munster. That's their first scrum penalty of the day, if I'm not mistaken. It's too late, but it's something. Craig Casey wants to speed things up. Yeah, he's, what I back about Craig Casey is somebody who lives and breathes Munster. Passionate about the club, never to die attitude, and I mean, it's the fact he's still on at the scrum off 71 minutes. You don't want to be the replacement scrum off in a Munster side when Craig Casey is starting. Ball over the top to the left-hand side now. And Dan Kelly takes it into contact. Oh, jeepers, that's knocked on now. Turbo. No way. Jan-Hendrik Wessels is not chipping and chasing here. Haley goes back inside. Wessels is after them, but gets away from one. Brought down, gets the offload away. And it's the big tight head who comes away with it after all that. Done pretty well in the end. Has Connor Bartley, and they won the penalty. I mean, we can't be having Jan-Hendrik Wessels chipping and chasing people. Let's have a little bit of respect here, Jan-Hendrik. Come on. It's know your place. You're covering prop today. You can't be chipping and chasing. Probably one of the few props in the world who probably can back up the chip with the kind of chase that it deserves. Nominees for man of the match. Ruan for Mark Moscotier and Boris Papir. I cannot understand how Cameron Honeycomb is not in that mix. Ruan for Mark's a bit of a sleeper agent there. Solid game from him. They go short to Munster in the line out. Ball available. And he is on, in fact, as Ben O'Donovan. Craig Casey, as I mentioned, played a long game. Is eventually off. In fact, he's still on as Craig Casey. I think he's actually got to number 10. Yeah, that's exactly what's happened. He has gone to number 10 as Craig Casey. Oh no, knock on. This is all just falling apart. Just blow the whistle at this stage, ref. Munster have completely just checked out here. It's very average passes. There's not much shape. You've got Craig Casey, who's kind of a bit of a shadow 10. I just don't know what's going on. They've lost the plot, unfortunately. They have lost the plot. Right, scrum with just over 6 minutes left on the clock. It's at the halfway mark. Bulls looking to try and break that 50 mark in a quarter final. It's and again, we talked about conditions. The altitude and the heat definitely played its role here. Switch of play here. They go to the right hand side. Kane Moody. And he gets the tackle done as Craig Casey. Cyril Pearson comes back inside. Ball available for Paul DeVette, taking his time. Bruno Kier pops it short, and John Rudolph leaves the ball behind. Backwards says the referee. Now says Manchans. Manchans pops it back inside. Cyril Pearson runs a good line. Can't get the offload away. Paul DeVette to Jan Wessels. He threw it back inside and nobody. Stefan Manchans is there to clean up. Those out to Kurt Lawrence. Both teams are just playing. I mean, it almost looks like a sevens game. Kurt Lawrence and now just drifting back, waiting for a defender to make an attempt. Now a bit more structures. Paul DeVette eventually goes to Stefan Manchans. puts his head down, goes himself, wrapped up in the tackle, and looking to try and it's like Williams playing slow-mo at the moment. Paul de Vet now goes Sergio Peterson. He tries to inject a bit of pace into the game. Paul de Vet caught in the ball. I mean, it's bizarre rugby. The ball's basically just there. It's a bit of a... now we're going to break here with Ruan O'Keefe's got Sergio Peterson with him. Pops out Sergio Peterson. Has he got the pace to go all the way? No, he does not. Is there anybody popping up? Ruan O'Keefe's there. Oh, I've lost it forward. And for his efforts, he had a Munster player land on his back as well. Now, they just hacked it downfield there. Advantage is over. They found touch of Munster. Didn't quite have the pace. Looking desperately for someone to offload to or Sergio Peterson. Ruan O'Keefe was arriving eventually, but couldn't hold on to it. There's a player down. I don't know if it's Sergio Peterson. Right, so far, 79.5% of the votes for man of the match sitting with Ambrose Papier. I think we know which way that one's going. Yeah, that's a bit of a throw down the gauntlet of Rusty Erasmus, basically saying, I dare you not to pick me. I dare you not to pick me. And with the injuries at the moment, I think he is going to get a chance. No more van den Berg. Kobus Reiner currently out as well. So, you've got Grant Williams. But after that, I think Rose Sapir is going to be in there. Oh no, that's brutal for Sergio Peterson. It looks like he's done his collarbone. He's gone off with his shirt, his arm and his shirt. And it's this tackle over here. Yeah, just lands on that shoulder. Heartbreaking for him to have only just come on. Right, people, I'm gonna go drop a link in the chat, and go and rate the players, and share with your mates and stuff like that. On mypicks.app, you can go and rate the players and give everybody a rating between 1 and 10. I'm going to do mine after this, and I'll post on social media and see what you guys think about them. Paul de Vet, chip over the top from Andre Pollard. Kane Moody, third try to throw back inside, not quite coming off there. Trying a few different things now, are the Bulls. They can afford to just play with a bit of freedom. And that's supposed to know. Yeah, so go and vote for get your player ratings in. I'm going to share ours on social media, and you can go and share with your mates, stuff like that. Go out, check out my picks. It has the full summary of the game and the likes of that. So go and check it out and go and throw in your votes. Get yourself ready for box season. We're going to be able to predict teams and the whole likes of that. That's a bit of a poor pass, but picked up on the bounce there from Smith, and Kane Moody gets crossed to make a good tackle. What can Munster just find something? Can they find a consolation try? Chip over the top here from Kenlin, and Johan Krobler just putting it back. He has managed to keep it from going forward, in fairness, so keeps it alive. Paul de Vet comes away with it. 9 seconds left on the clock. Stedman Khans, what can he conjure up? Steps away from a couple. Still going Stedman Khans. Gets the offload away to Ruan Nokia. Paul de Vet with a bit of space. Paul de Vet, has he got the pace? He's going to be hunted down inside the 22. Johan Krobler still going at 80 minutes. What a game he's had. Pollard now just short. Can they keep it? Ball available. No, it's been stolen by Munster. First one, says the player, says Piardi. Arriving player. Kanan Moody bounced off one. Kanan Moody will stroll over for the try. Easy as you like for the Bulls. That will be that. They will hit the 50 mark. And it's been a pretty dominant performance, hasn't it? Yeah, unfortunately, Munster early on the second. Oh, I lie. It wasn't a try. I think it was a penalty or a free kick because all of a sudden Munster are on the front foot. A pretty poor pass there. 30 seconds left to go. A bit of space, but forward pass is the call. And that should bring us out the game. That is indeed the game. Well, there it is. What a game that is from the Bulls. Shaking hands from Johan Nuckerman, who needs to get a bigger pair of shorts. There, come on, Johan. You're the coach of a quarter final. This is the full suit out here. But final score, 45 points to 14. It was a bit of a thrashing, if you're going to be brutally honest. And the Bulls will surge into the URC semifinals. Big game for them next weekend. The question is, will the Stormers join them? We'll find out very shortly. Please do smash the like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel on the way out. Go and get your ratings in. And we will see you very shortly for that Stormers game. Kickoff there is in 14 minutes. Smash the like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel.